he was like hiding from her because she was fat or whatever the case is. Listen, you guys got to stop with the fucking fat phobic bullshit, okay? Now, I know that Lizzo is seemingly fucking you guys' brains up, because at first what seemed to be someone who is very comfortable in her skin, for a plus-sized woman, is now turning into someone who is trying to convince us that she is, and that's just my opinion. It feels like what she's doing is trying to convince us that she is comfortable in her skin. We saw her at a Lakers game, if I'm not mistaken, where she wore her thong t-shirt. Now, listen, the thong t-shirt was weird. It was a weird flex, but I didn't find it to be something that would be outside the guise of what is happening in terms of, I don't know, I guess in terms of people being a little bit more prude or a little bit more conscious in their presentation. It didn't surprise me that she was dressed like that. I think what surprised me was the venue that she wore it to. Now, a lot of you were like, oh, there were kids there and blah, blah, blah. You motherfuckers don't give a fuck about no goddamn kids at the motherfucking basketball games. Because let's be real. A lot of these bitches are coming to these basketball games looking to be chosen, not wearing next to nothing. But I just found it weird for Lizzo to give that flex, because like, she doesn't strike me as someone who needs to shove her body down our throat in order for us to believe that she's happy with herself. And that's what it's seeming to be. She had a visit to a Chick-fil-A where she was wearing some panty shorts, some denim panty shorts, and then she seemingly was wearing like not seemingly, but she was wearing a green thong under it, and she was just kind of twerking against the counter. And I just found it all unnecessary, but I love her anyway. But I say all that to say that you guys got a lot of fat phobic shit going on with you. Like, you just don't want to see a big girl happy, I guess. And I find it to be ironic, because I find a lot of this criticism to come from men who are only concerned with their jockstrap cup size, but almost unconcerned with their bra cup size. So that was that for the baby. In some other news, I need Red Table Talk to take it a little bit down with the Jordyn Woods shows. Like, we've already had a Jordyn Woods show, a Jordyn Woods follow-up show, and then a Jordyn Woods Maury Povich style, Jerry Springer style lie detector show. And all right, you guys, she didn't fucking fuck Tristan. We don't care that she fucked Tristan. We're okay that she fucked Tristan. What we're not okay with is that, like, we just don't want to keep hearing about it. Like, what's done, it's done. And the streets are saying that Cloverfield and Tristan are actually back together. And honestly, we just want y'all to leave us the fuck alone. We don't give a fuck about any of this shit anymore. Like, we have moved on. It is almost 2020. This shit happened what feels like long ago. I don't care anymore, honestly. Like, leave us alone. God. In some other disturbing news, so I don't know if you guys have been following this, but amidst news that Oprah will be producing her very own Me Too documentary set to premiere in 2020, Russell Simmons, who will be the focus of said documentary, has basically come out and issued an Instagram statement, which we'll get into in 1 second. So the documentary, which will focus on sexual misconduct in the music industry, and specifically sexual misconduct on the part of Russell Simmons. Now, some of these Some of these misconducts date back to 20, 30, even more so years ago, as Russell Simmons was at the helm of Def Jam Music, which he helped to found, as well as was the president and CEO for a long time. Now, he can be credited with launching the careers of Run DMC, Beastie Boys, as well as LL Cool J. Russell Simmons will be the focus, as we said before. Now, this documentary will be produced in partnership with Apple TV. Now, Russell Simmons was accused in 2017 of assault by Drew Dixon. He was also accused, and there's actually many accusers who have come out against Russell Simmons, but this is just to name a few. He was also accused by Kelly Catrone. Now, if that name sounds familiar to you, she was the focus of the MTV television show The City, which starred Lauren Conrad. And at the time, Lauren Conrad was working for Kelly Catrone, who had her own fashion PR and fashion show production company. So, and that was circa 2010. Well, Kelly Catrone said that Russell Simmons actually attempted to rape her back in 1991. Now, over a dozen women have come forward with allegations against Simmons, with one filing a $10 million lawsuit against the former music mogul and full-time yogi. And that suit came to light in March of 2018. Now, 50 Cent, the rapper, took very large umbrage with Oprah's involvement in the producing of this documentary. 50 said, and I quote, "I don't understand why Oprah is going after a black man or black men, period. No Harvey Weinstein, no Epstein, just Michael Jackson and Russell." Adding, he later added in his Instagram post, "You think Oprah don't notice how shit is playing out?" Now, Russell Simmons took to Instagram to share his thoughts, where he admitted to having a ridiculous amount of sexual encounters, but he also added that he passed 9 3-hour lie detector tests, which he took to not only prove his innocence, but to also just to prove to his daughters that he was not or is not the alleged monster that he is being made out to be. Russell went on to say that he has never violently or seemingly forced himself on anyone. And this is all like pretty crazy. Now, again, the documentary is set to air in 2020. Now, here's what I have to say about all of this is, you know, it really bothers me when people try to equate bad behavior on who should be punished and why they should be punished, and it not being fair that these people were punished. What's not fair is that women have to suffer at the hands of aggressive men. And you would think that with all the news happening today in the world, that people would realize, hey, maybe we should cool it on the sexual misconduct and sexual misappropriation and what have you. But that is seemingly not the case. I don't think that my experience is, I mean, listen, I talk about going to the gym and the gym wigs, but what is not so funny is the fact that I can't go to the gym without being harassed. You know, and when I say harassed, any unwelcomed sexual and or misappropriate sexual behavior on the part of anyone, anything that makes you even feel inappropriate, is sexual misconduct. And I think that, This is not the days of Freaknik where you can just go to the park and just rip off some girl's bikini top or just grab her coochie or anything like that. Gone are those days. People have to just be more mindful of this kind of impulsive behavior. And the problem is that people don't seem to be becoming mindful of that. And so unfortunately, women are still suffering, and girls, not just women, not just adult women, but children, little girls, and even some little boys are suffering at the hands of this kind of sexual misconduct. Now, I don't care. Jeffrey Epstein did not get away with his sexual deviancy and misconduct. He was jailed and killed himself, or seemingly killed himself, because the verdict is still out on that. As far as Harvey Weinstein is concerned, now the case was settled this week, as a matter of fact, where the Weinstein Company, or their insurers, did have to not only pay out to the accusers, but pay Harvey Weinstein's lawyer bills as well. And I just find that to be really jarring. I do find it disturbing that Harvey Weinstein doesn't seem to... Now, this was just a civil case that took place and that was settled. This was, if I'm not mistaken, right? This was not the criminal case against Harvey Weinstein. This was just the civil case. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't care that, Oprah doesn't want to focus on Harvey Weinstein or Jeffrey Epstein, because it is not her job to convict these men. I do think what she's trying to do is bring this behavior to light. Now, I have not seen the documentary because the documentary is not set to air until 2020. But one could venture a guess to say that I'm hoping that there's some sort of fairness involved. Now, I don't disagree with 50 Cent in saying that that when situations, or when someone of power, as in Oprah Winfrey, comes and gives her opinion or gives a documentary that has a kind of a slanted view in terms of what what is believed to happen, because I don't know if you guys saw the documentary, the Neverland documentary, and then the Oprah interview following, but it definitely gave the slant, in my opinion, that Michael was guilty, period. And it definitely gave the slant that, regardless of the situation that, these young boys were put into, knowing the histrionics of Michael in the past, being accused of sexual, misconduct and sexual inappropriateness with minors, it definitely had a slant to it. Now, I did not watch Leaving Neverland because for me, Michael Jackson has since passed away. I think that everyone has an opinion as far as what happened there and Michael and what have you. I have a definite opinion about Harvey Weinstein. I think it's interesting. If you've never been someone who's been on the receiving end of sexual misappropriation or sexual misconduct, I don't know that you have a dog in this race. Speaking out as a woman who, even as a child, experienced sexual misappropriation and sexual abuse and sexual misconduct. And I'm talking about as a child, like I was a child. I think it is difficult to hear anybody rationalize the accused. You know,